Yeah, great. We only had a couple of us say things about the icebreaker. So if anyone else wants to, and Mike, do you know how to make this full screen here?
Yeah, if you click that slideshow button that's next to the share,
Perfect.
uh,
Full screen. There we go.
boom.
Okay, great. We had some good ones already. Would anyone else like to chime in? And sorry, I know we're starting a little bit late. We had some technical difficulties. Mike, it wasn't just you. We had some on our end too.
Okay.
um, so is there anyone that wants to respond or shall we get going?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I see Volkswagen here, so I really loyal to Subaru because I tried four different models and changed back to Subaru within a year.
So
So
I
I was
can't
so
hear that.
I can hear him. Yeah,
You
you
can?
I can. Yes.
I cannot.
He,
oh,
he's, he was saying that he was trying different models. Subaru for him was a car brand that he tried. It's so weird that you can't hear that, but I can.
I don't know how many else, but
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear Shankar. Yeah,
oh, you can.
perfectly fine.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
try four different brands and change back to Subaru again within a year.
Okay. This is going to be interesting to try to get through the because Shankar is one of our presenters. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's move on from the icebreaker here. Great, if you don't mind to advance the slides there. All right, so we're going to cover the house rules. We'll do that in a few minutes. And again, we know we're running a little bit behind, so we'll catch up here. We're going to have some performance tips and tricks. Ingrid's going to share some, Shankar as well, and then Ron has quite a few for us. Feel free in that time period, if you have some questions about those tips, we can go ahead and ask those as the slide is up on those. And then we'll have some Q&A time in the end, and we'll also be talking a little bit about the next topics that we want to cover and see if there is any volunteers to cover some of the content for the topics that we'll have for next time around as well. So with that, let's get into the house rules. Okay, so first here, Adobe user groups here. So we're trying to stay focused on the content specific to the Adobe Commerce application. Obviously, it's a safe place to share problems, ideas, all those sorts of things. And, again, the attendees here will try to help you solve some of those things. The rules here, no self-promoting within the user group. Don't contact people inside of the group unless you have their consent, as well as if there are use cases and other data shared from people's instances here, also do not share that information without their consent. We got another slide here of some information. So this meeting is being recorded. If you don't want to be on recording, you can drop off and catch the recording of this session later. And you see the information here of questions you may have. You can contact advocacy, email, or myself on this. And before we get to some of our content, there's a lot of questions on people not getting this particular session for like reminders and those sorts of things. For that, you have to join the chatter, not just an event, in order to get those upcoming sessions. So we got a QR code up here. If you want to take a minute here and snap that or go to the user group, you'll see a join button on the user group itself, not on a specific event. And if you join the user group, then you also get notifications of the upcoming events that are ongoing. So please join the chapter. And you'll also see, if you go to the main site, there are a couple USA groups now. So ours is just the US virtual. I think there's a US Eastern as well, but the one that we're on here is USA virtual. Okay, and our user group leader. So myself, again, for those of you who haven't met, digital marketing director here at Lexmark, which has since from the last meeting been acquired by Xerox. So we're in through that journey and starting to have some conversations of commerce and other applications of what that means. Ingrid, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Ingrid Gutson. I am currently the director of e-commerce at Clampett Paper, meaning I do all things web related, obviously, and our website related. I have about 20 plus years in the e-commerce space, working on a variety of different platforms, mostly in the same type of role. And I love it. I'm a huge e-commerce nerd, and that's me.
Awesome. And Ryan, care to introduce yourself there?
Sure. My name is Ryan San. My current title is Magento Architect. I don't know why it says Marketo Architect. Probably I was watching Marketo videos. I do want to be a Marketo Architect someday. But I work for ISN, and architect means different thing in different organization. In our organization, it's more like a tech lead, connecting between business stakeholders and the developers.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron. And you'll hear from each of them here in just a bit. We do have a couple of polls. If you go to the next slide here. So I was planning on showing the last poll results, but I'll have to read those off since I can't share my screen. I'm joined right now. But if you want to snap the QR code there, and go ahead and take our first poll. So this is which part of your website is slow, and you'll see options here for front end, back end, both. I don't know, it's just slow, or our website's fast. And I'm looking here. So far, we've got front end, we've got both. Give another few seconds here for others to fill out the form there. All right, looks pretty even between front end. There's a back end, front end, both, back end. So a little bit all over, which is okay and expected. And you'll hear some tips today on several of those. All right, next poll. On to the next slide there, Ingrid, if you don't mind.
Is it not on
All
there?
right.
Okay.
Yep, no, it's up now. Where is your website hosted? So Adobe offers several different options. So on-premise, Commerce Cloud, and then their new offering that was announced, I think GA was June, I think, somewhere in that time frame, is Adobe Commerce as a Cloud Service. So again, I'm looking at the results here. Oops, click the wrong button there. So we've got everyone on cloud so far. So interesting. No premise-based installs with our audience today. I figured we'd have some of those. And I was curious if anyone was yet on the as a cloud service. Doesn't look like anyone yet. So all cloud customers so far. And last poll. What front-end technology do you use? So Luma, that's Edge Delivery, IVA, or PWA, Progressive Web. And let me get over to our results here. Okay, looks like we're split between Luma and Edge Delivery. So we got some on Edge Delivery. That's awesome. All right, that gives us some context for the discussion today. Here we'll transition into our first set of tips, and I think that will be from Ingrid. So Ingrid, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, these are pretty small, but they have made a world of difference for our site. So obviously there's the best practices that we read about and already know about, and some of us may do them, some of us may hire developers to do them, but everything you see in New Relic, right? All of the things that you get updates on and things you need to improve in New Relic. For me, we work with a team of developers to kind of handle all of the New Relic stuff. I manage like, hey, this instance was slow and this needs to happen. But there's some for kind of the e-commerce user, such as myself, the director, who's going in there and doing product management, creating CMS pages, that kind of thing. And there's been two things in particular. Again, I know you see them in New Relic, but there's been two things in particular that have really helped us. One on the back end is creating attribute sets. So because of our ERP system, we have a number of custom attributes. And some of those custom attributes don't need to go for each product type. There was one in particular that, because it was not a drop down, it was just creating really long load times. So updating a product for me on the back end was pretty difficult and pretty slow. I don't know if everyone runs into this. So let's go to the next one. Deleting unnecessary attributes. So getting rid of any of them helps. Creating an attribute set, like I just talked about, based on the product type. So for me, it's paper or envelopes or board, where envelopes and paper have different types of attributes that need to be shown on our product pages. And they don't need to load for every type of product. And you can do this in a pretty good import-export fashion. And then audit your layer navigation filters. And I think that Ryan put this in. So Ryan, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we have some similar issues on our website as well. We as a distributor, we run a very broad of product line, and all products combined, there's a massive amount of attributes. We have thousands of attributes. It may be still a smaller number of attributes compared to large retailers, but it's quite a size of attributes, and that slows down the product listing page, because the product listing page, if you configure all those attributes to be filterable, then each attribute is going to render a drop-down list on the page. That slows down both the query time and also the page rendering time. We don't believe all those attributes are useful for customers, and we wanted to reduce that to an effective number of attributes to speed up the speed. And the way I did it is I queried the traffic history in our GA page. In Google Analytics page, you have all the page traffics and the URLs. From there, you can filter out. First, you can download the list of URLs in the history, and then you can use either a script or regex query in GA4 to find out which filter attributes being appended to the product listing URLs. And from there, you can relatively effectively extract the filters actually being used by customers, and you can make the ones that customer never use not filterable. That way you can speed up a page quite a few.
That's very cool. I'd want a little how-to on that after the group, if you have like.
Yeah, I may still have the copy of the script, and if I can find it, I can share. with
Okay.
anyone who's interested.
Great. Yeah, mine are just going in there and getting rid of attribute options you don't need. Obviously, New Relic tells us to do that. For us, we have thousands of different colors, and I know we're not supposed to have more than 100, that kind of thing. And then creating that attribute set. One thing I did notice is that when you switch a product from a default to an attribute set, then the custom attributes that you have filtered and showing on your category pages, you have to go back in and actually manually put those in on each product. So it's best to do the attribute sets in bulk, export it, get rid of the columns that you're not importing back, do the add and update on the import, and then those category attribute filters stay on the category pages. Does anyone have any questions about either of those? Is it something that everyone does? You can chat or chime in. All right, and I'll move on. Ryan, do you have anything more you want to say?
No, that's all I can add to this slide.
Okay. Now the next one is repeat images. I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but say you have a white shirt, say you have a black swatch, say you have a blue cloud, whatever, and say you have a number of those, you actually have to engage with some other type of system. Say you set up a Google Drive and you have script that's calling to the Google Drive images instead of Adobe. But if you use Adobe and you're creating your product and you update the swatches, each of those swatches is a new image. So for example, you have white shirt, .jpg, you're going to go to your white shirt -1, white shirt -20, and it will keep going all the way up. Like for us, we might have, just an example, white shirt -294-40. So it creates a new image for each image that you upload, even if they're the same on your instance, even if they're the same on your desktop, even if they're named the same. So for us, we have our category pages set at 10. So people will get 10 different images for the same image on all of that. We use the same images. So what I've done is export the products by the category, replace the image URL with the original one, and then import those. You can't do a replace if you have a lot of custom attributes. So the kicker is you have to go through on, say you have 150 products, you have to go through and delete the duplicated images, which might be the white shirt _30_10. You have to delete this one, so just this one shows. But I've noticed a significant increase in our page load times on the front end by doing this to thousands of products. It's arduous, it's time consuming. The alternative, again, seems to be have a specific solution that and I've worked with the Adobe team to figure that out, have a specific solution that's expensive. So I don't know if anyone has done something similar with theirs or found other tricks kind of like this. We have something in the chat, so I'm going to see.
Yeah, Ingrid, I put in the chat, we use a tool called Urg Rapid Flow. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I would, for anybody that's doing regular product launches, bulk SKUs, our SKU count is nowhere near some of you guys, I know, but we're typically doing product launch of 500 to 600 products at a time. And a lot of those are the same, there might be 10 or 12 different variants of each product that are using the same images. But anybody doing like large product loads like that, I would highly recommend a tool like Rapid Flow. It is a little bit expensive for the first initial purchase, but I think it definitely pays for itself over time.
Awesome. I just brought up their website so I can look at it after
Fantastic. I know I'd
after
be
this.
if you want a quick like run through, I have it open pretty much all day every day. So anytime.
Perfect. This is something I need. So this is great. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. All of those product images. And I know those are little tips, but they were some that I was amazed by once I did them. Shankar is next.
Right, Shankar's on our team from Lexmark. Hopefully you all can hear him. Shankar, do you want to come off mute there, see if we can hear you?
I don't see him on.
It's Guri Mata. He's how
There
he's
you
on.
go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. I rejoined so that maybe everyone can hear. So
Can you hear him now, Ingrid?
Yeah.
okay.
Great. Go ahead, Shankar.
Yeah. So I mean, we moved to Magento. Like initially, we were on Oracle Commerce, and we moved to Magento, and and we have already have an existing jobs where we get the products from our uh, system where we have all the product information called LPMD. So we used to have an existing job, and we used to get that data, and we created a custom job in Magento and started loading the products. So when we initially used it, it is all create products. So we saw it's pretty fast, and after that we started getting the same product without any changes. So we used to have like around 3,000 products per by country, and it used to be okay as long as like one country 3,000 products. But once we are like 8 countries with 3,000, and we were updating every time without checking if there's a change or not, and the job was taking around 2 to 3 hours, and and it just 10 attributes. We don't have like as many attributes of other people talking about, but we just have 10, 15 attributes at product level. So we so we have two options: one to convert the job to import export, which is already there out of the box feature, or do a quick fix. So we started added an additional check, like getting the product and comparing if there's any change in the product, then do an update, otherwise don't do it. And the job time was turned around from 2 to 3 hours to 2 minutes, because there's not really much updates, but the system was sending us every time all the products. So that helped us a lot. So we did not move it to import export. We are planning to move all the jobs to out of the box import export feature we have for catalog updates and price updates. But right now we have custom jobs. So that's how, like, I know maybe many people might know about this before, they might have handled it, but this is one thing which we have to do it after we move to like all the locales. uh,
Mhm.
and I know everyone is talking about image storage in Magento itself, but we already have a system where we have images shared, I mean, a common location for all the product images, and we don't want to duplicate those images in Magento. So we just customize the view, Magento view product image views across all the Luma. I mean, we are using Luma as a front end, so we did little customizations to get the media links directly onto the page. So that's how we are not storing any of the images in Magento. We were directly getting the links, and this helped us not to duplicate the images, and it's all rows like 15,000 plus images we have to duplicate otherwise. And also I think Adobe recently released asset integration with DAM. So we were looking into that. They said it should work for your Adobe Commerce Cloud too. So we were looking into that option now, because we have all the images, most of the images in the DAM. So we have Adobe AEM as our uh, cloud service too. So, and the
I
last one is I mean, this is a mistake we made, and the SWAT tool has given us that, like, oh, you're using cacheable false somewhere in your customized code. So please look for options, and SWAT tool helped us to identify the mistake we made, and we were able to remove cacheable false, and started getting the data through customer. And this we were using it for B2B, and we want to get the company information to display some dynamic contents on the page. So we moved that to customer data object and removed cacheable false. So that way the performance was also improved for the dashboard, the landing page. That's the home page where we did this, and we had a big performance impact, and SWAT tool helped us to fix that. Yeah, I think these are the things I remember. Yeah.
I have a
And
question for you.
Yeah.
If you have any web managers creating pages, landing pages for marketing purposes, other purposes, using Adobe Page Builder, like their native page builder,
Mhm.
you can't put image URLs in there. You have to put the image in. So what do you do for that? And they don't give you the source code so that you can go in. Like, do you just put it in as HTML then and connect to
Yeah,
the image
they're
source
putting it
that
as
way?
an HTML. Yeah, they're not
Okay.
putting the. So I mean, and again, the B2B system, we already have a old B2B system, so they were trying to replicate the same home pages for each customer. They are not deviating from it, so they are trying to get that HTML code and trying to match it to the CSS. So they were really struggling to do that. I mean, page builder is not that user friendly, but they
No.
were copying the content and doing the pages, and mostly like dynamic content. So most of the things they are working on is dynamic content and including the HTML content in it.
Okay, got it.
Ishan, I have a question to you.
Yeah.
So for loading image from an Excel system and modify the template, how do you store the image in Magento? Do you store them at all?
No, we
And
don't store at all. We
no,
just
no,
get it from
not
the
the image itself, but the image like image name, image path.
Oh, so image name, image path, like we have an attribute in our product catalog, which dynamically resolves to a particular URL. So
Okay,
suppose if you're displaying a standard image or a thumbnail, the URL is fixed with that attribute. So we generate that URL on fly. So
okay.
that URL is a standard URL. So we don't
Do
really
you
need to know the name of the image. We just need to know
support
the
multiple images?
product SKU. It all depends upon the SKU. So it has media.lexmark.com/SKU/thumbnail slash something. So
Okay,
that's
so
standard URL. Yeah.
the slash
Yeah.
delimited
Yeah.
value. Okay, got it. Yep, we are going to do something similar as well because we manage multiple websites and we don't want to duplicate the images everywhere.
Yeah. We already had that system with Oracle Commerce. So we don't want to really copy the images. So we thought, and so we have to change like 4 or 5 components. We'll have to do a plugin and just get the image path there instead of the image object.
Cool.
Shankar, can I ask? So I'm looking at the Lexmark page, and I see you're using Scene 7. Is that a DAM? Is that just for your
Yes.
content management images, and then your product images are stored elsewhere?
Can I know which path you're referring to?
I
Yeah,
think that's lexma.com and Sin7 is dynamic media. So we have different website. AEM is the front end for our direct e-commerce. What Shankar was talking about was more for the B2B
For
implementation,
B2B,
which is using Luma and other things. So we have different front end for different sites.
got it.
So I should have
Thank you.
mentioned that. So we are not using it this for Lexmark.com. Lexmark.com uses AEM as a front end, and
Got
all
it.
the back end is GraphQL. So there's no front end for e-commerce. This is only for B2B. We are still using Luma Store for B2B, and it's the URL is commerce.lexmark.com, and it is authenticated. It is protected by login, but yeah, it's just for B2B customers.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
all right, thanks, Shankar. Ryan, I think you have the next set of tips for us.
Yep. So I work primarily on Adobe Commerce on premise, So there's maybe some tricks don't really apply to like cloud service users or the EM users, but I'll going to cover the tricks that I did on both backend and frontend, like the N+1 queries, how we manage cache and unload modules, etc., etc. So let's move over. I also want to talk about the journey that we optimized how we load the user-based pricing, which is common concept for B2B e-commerce. Different users have their different pricing and inventory as well sometimes, and that has to cooperate with page cache. And we can talk about how we optimize this user behavior, user journey, but we may have to skip that given the time that we have. So Ingrid, next slide, please. This is a meme that probably many people have seen on the media platform. This is created by Irvin, who is a performance specialist. And in this image, it demonstrates how people feel about the page speed, especially Magento when it's slow. Which part is slow? Is it page? Is it theme? Is it backend? Is it image? Is it developer slow? Is it the whole thing slow? It could be anyone. So let's take a deeper dive onto each one and hope that help us pull off the mask of those guys and find out who is the bad actor. Next slide, please. So N+1 query. This is a kind of a common problem that people will see, especially on database query SQL, but it's also common in Magento programming as well if you are not being careful. So a N+1 query typically looks like a heavy operation inside a loop. In the SQL query concept would be like you fetch a main table, like you fetch a list of members, and then you fetch the information from individual members, fetch their name from by their user ID. In Magento context, it's probably look like a fetch a collection of product and then get a full load of the product individually by their product ID, so you can get access to all the attributes. Sometimes developers do this because they don't get maybe a one-off attribute from the product model, and they just load the whole product model with all the attributes so they can get the data they need. But the best way would be to join the attribute you want to load, and there are multiple ways to do so. You can instruct Magento to load product collection for listing view in the XML instruction, or you can write a custom join method to load the attributes you want. That way, you don't have to load the product individually. I was going to take a screenshot of a performance profiler tool that I used to identify the N+1 query. I didn't get a chance to paste that into the slide, but such a profiling diagram would look like a very long time spending component with a crazy number of parallel smaller components under it, and each one taking some similar amount of time, and that resulting in the page load taking a lot of time. Ironically, while I was trying to take a screenshot of that, I identified another N+1 query from our product listing page. So I'm going to fix that later. So yeah, you usually find this kind of problem in category listing page, search page, a CMS page with carousel, or maybe the cart page. So pay attention to that. Next slide, please. Cache. This is kind of covered by Shankar already, but I just want to call out the way cache being managed Magento is cascaded, is broadcasted. say you update one product content, maybe that content is not even being used in a page display, but that's still going to trigger a cache invalidation. So that page cache is not being used anymore, and Magento has to rebuild that cache and follow that. If that same product is being used in any product listing page, CMS page that has this product included, those pages will also be invalidated and has to rebuild the cache for those pages as well. So keep that in mind. Be careful when you do a product update. As Shanka pointed out, if there's no update to the actual product data, maybe don't click on the save button or don't trigger the syndication process for those products. Next slide, please. So unload unused modules. Magento is a very powerful platform. It provides all kinds of features you can think of. In most cases, there are still plugins you want to purchase from the market. But there's so many features, you probably don't want to use all of them. In reality, you probably just use 30-50% of the features. There are a lot of modules you can safely unload from the site. And by doing that, those modules do not participate in the PHP process. And also, it reduces the application size because you have less file to host. It's easier to deploy. And also, it's faster for operating system to fetch the file into the PHP process. Here I attached a link from GitHub. It's a repository from a community. Someone contributed a composer file that you can use to easily replace very common modules that you probably don't need to use in your website. But do review that list. Make sure you really don't need them if you want to do so. Next slide, please. Slow queries, similar, not similar, but for the same reason of the N+1 query, a slow query slowed down the page size for the same reason. I guess the link attached here covers this topic very well, so I don't have to speak more about it, but just keep in mind that Magento is built on top of EAB system, representing for entity attribute value combination, and for a single product, that product data is split across, I think, 7 or 8 tables. And whenever you want to pull the complete product data, you need to join all those tables together. So you can imagine it's not a cheap operation. So when you do custom development in Magento, do review the queries that you put together and make sure you don't have a slow query, make your website slower. And there are plenty of tools help you to identify those slow queries. And here I attached a classic example, add attribute to select star. That means select everything to the product collector. So if you have that operation in your code base, take a look at it, review that. Next slide, please. User profiler. I mentioned that in the previous slide. A performance profiler is a very good friend of the developer. It helps us to identify the performance bottleneck easily. So I said it wrong in the previous slide. I did paste the screenshot here, and you can see from the screenshot the very white green bar on the top is the N+1 query, where that N+1 query happens, and the smaller orange blocks beneath it are all those individual all the individual n's in that n+1 query. So this is a screenshot from a tool called Blackfire. It's a paid tool. It's very handy. But there are other tools. Magento has a built-in profiler that you can enable, and SPX is a open source profiler that you can build into your development tools that provides similar experience. Next slide, please. So here in this slide, I listed some common front-end options that we can use in Magento, and each one provides different benefits, and they have different traits on when it comes to performance. Luma and the Luma-based theme is built on Knockout.js and then Require.js. Require.js is a asynchronized module AMD. Shoot, I forgot the full name, but it loads the Ajax libraries. It loads the JavaScript libraries in a asynchronized way. The first dependency of the library is going to trigger a sequential call to all the libraries that he need. And in modern browser, most of the browsers limit you on how many parallel requests you can have. For example, Google limits you to have up to 6 parallel requests. So even if the library needs another 10 smaller JS libraries, only 6 is being requested at the same time. And after the 6, the other 4 gets requested, and the full page load only functions after all the 10 libraries is fully loaded. So we get to see this waterfall restriction from Luma. But the benefit of this Luma is you get a very fast page, first page rendering, because about the fold, some main elements are being rendered without the need of most of the JS libraries, and that gets rendered very fast compared to some other front-end options. The next option, Embrace, is probably less well-known. This one is a theme created by a third-party vendor. It modernized the Luma libraries and also replaced some heavy scripts like JavaScript, Require.js, and Knockout.js with a much light-weighted, customized scripts. So you could see it's like a faster Luma theme. You still have to, if you want to move to Breeze, you do still have to modify some of the knockout customization if you have any in your own way, though. Next option, Hua, is probably second well-known traditional multi-page theme option in Magento. It is totally different architecture. It builds the page with Alpine.js and Tailwind.js. Those are Tailwind CSS. Those are modern JS and CSS frameworks compared to the ones being used in Luma, and this very lightweighted. A typical Luma with everything included, bundled, is probably going to be multiple megabytes. Hua is going to be 100 kilobytes, I think, around that. So it's very fast. PWA is not a multi-page application. It's not a traditional web page that you click from one page to another. It's everything loaded in one page. When you go to another page, it's not loading another whole new page. It actually dynamically replaces the relative areas in the same page so that it speeds up the page load. That's also why they call it progressive web application. It it updates your app progressively. So obviously, no page refresh, no need to destroy and reload everything on the page load. But the downside is you have to pay an upfront fee. I mean, you have to load a whole bunch of PWA framework into page, and that is usually much heavier than the libraries required in Luma or Hua. The last option, storefront, which I don't have much experience. I only get to experience that a few weeks ago, but I was impressed by the easiness of adopting this technology and how enjoyable it is to deploy and update from EDS, and how well everything is integrated together. I also like it provides a progressive way of upgrading your traditional Magento application into Adobe. They call it Adobe Commerce as a cloud service. You can move to EDS separately, you can move to App Builder individually, gradually, and then eventually you can move to Adobe Cloud as a whole. But the benefit of this is of just EDS is it's built by Vanilla.js. It doesn't have a JavaScript library included, so it's way faster than any of the traditional front-end option we can find out there. With that said, when you integrate that into Magento, you do have to include I think they use P-React. P-React is a lightweighted variation of React. It's still fast, but it's not a JavaScript library you have to load. So that's all the options I laid out there. So maybe we can go to the next slide.
Yeah, and Ron, as you're going to the next slide, just time check. We got 5 minutes here, so I don't know if you want to hit a couple of highlights in the next few slides, and then we'll.
All right. Sure. Thanks for reminding that. Let me speed through the rest of the slide. So Lab Search. Yep. Mike is. Go ahead. All right. So Lab Search. Lab Search is a search as you type experience. It doesn't refresh your page even on traditional Luma-based theme. When you type a keyword, it refreshes the search result dynamically, and that speeds up the search page, obviously. And I bring this up because I believe for most of the e-commerce, the search page is where the majority of the traffic goes to. Speeding up the search page, even if the rest of the page are still slower, you get relatively a faster user experience as a whole for your website. Next slide, please. JS bundling, to bundle or not. The benefit of bundling JS is you only run one JS request in your browser for the most part, and that saves up the resource requesting time. But the downside is you are requesting a very large JavaScript, and that slows down the JS loading time or running time. And also you might be loading some JavaScript code that are not necessarily needed for that specific page. Not bundling the JavaScript, obviously, that's a waterfall issue. You are requesting hundreds of JavaScript files, but you are requesting smaller JavaScript files. And for the critical ones, they are loaded very fast. Here I attached 2 links, one linking to a official Adobe documented advanced JavaScript bundling method. The other one is a community open source module that can use to easily bundle JavaScript if you want to go that way. Next slide. CDN. we all know to use CDN for CD image and the resources, but some people may not be using all the features like using CDN to convert the JPEG or other images format to WebP. WebP is a modern web format image. Is faster, it's lightweighted, and you can also use CDN to transform image. Means you can use it to resize, to modify, so that you don't have to stress your servers to do the image resizing. Next slide. Redis session logging. So Redis has different strategies when it comes to logging the data. For the context, whenever you need to access a data store, which is Redis, we often use to serve page cache and also user session including the user behavior data and user data. When you need to access those server user data, we need to lock the Redis session, so it's only serving this one PHP request. For the other PHP requests wanting to read or modify the same session, they have to wait. And in Magento or in the Redis library, that wait is half second. So if you have a bunch of AJAX requests in the page, they may run into locking time, and the sequential AJAX request may have to wait for seconds for the first AJAX to finish. And you can identify this from New Relic or from a performance profiler. If you see a very longer Redis read or a sleep time, it makes no sense. That might be you indicating of a session lock time. And you can either totally unlock the session with no lock. You can configure that in Magento. I believe for Magento, for Adobe on Cloud, it is unlocked by default. Or if you don't trust that, because unlocking brings you in potential of corrupted data, although it may not be dangerous, it's still confusing. There are a few methods you can do: selective locking or optimistic locking, and I attached the link there as well. So take a look if you want. I think that's all the slide. You can do one more check. Next slide, please. Great.
It should be on the next one. Is it what your real users think?
Oh, yes. It's not much here. I just put here to encourage the user to think about the optimization and keep the journey going on. So I guess that's it.
Great.
All right.
Does anyone have any questions?
No, we're at our time period here. Apologies for some of the technical issues. We're trying to get those ironed out between now and the next session. The follow-up meetings, I did notice based on our normal schedule, that'll be Thanksgiving week. So we may pull that in 1 week, but we'll have that come out here fairly soon so that you all can block that on your calendars. You can see our Slack group there, as well as that LinkedIn group is for all commerce user groups, not just ours, that you can join if you want to. And one last thing that we have, if you go to the next slide here, is our next topic. We would like to be on the topic of AI. And so if any of you all have some AI solutions, whether they are from Adobe or just are able to connect to Adobe Commerce, we're interested in having you present to some of the team here of what you're using and what it does for you. So feel free to put in the comments here or just ping one of us afterwards. We'll be kind of soliciting some people to talk about this for our next topic, since it was voted as a high topic of interest. And then for one of our subsequent meetings, we'll also have the As a Cloud Service and Commerce Optimizer pieces from Adobe being presented. But we want to do this AI topic next, since it had a lot of interest. So I see a couple of comments there. I think people just need to jump off for time. So thank you all for your time. Like I said, we'll reach out for some ideas for the AI technology for next time. But have a good one, and thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.